and do the twist. And do the twist. Scrub of rub dub and bathing in the tub. Da 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 da.
Get the hell out of my house.
Okay.
Okay, get back in here.
This is the first time one of us stood up on camera.
Oh, yeah.
We have legs! We have legs!
Welcome back, everybody, to episode 37. No, wait, no, it's 20.
Oh, for episodes, yeah. This is our number 37 film.
Okay, today we're talking about Safety Last and Marjoe.
Yep.
I believe last time we started with my first. Yep. And we'll do round
So we'll be starting with Safety Last. So, notably, you might be going, Safety Last? Why? What the heck? That wasn't in the top 50 list. In which case, if you realize that, good luck on you. No one... Look, you should not be watching our show this much.
Yes.
But, very notably, I had a movie at this time, on this spot, on number 37, which we talked about before, which was To Kill a Mockingbird.
Da, 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 ding.
Number 37 for me was To Kill a Mockingbird. However, we already talked about that a few episodes back. So, if you want to hear our thoughts on To Kill a Mockingbird, I recommend going back to that episode.
Yep. So,
but we'll be having a policy. Whenever we have a repeat movie, instead of setting off the numbers a little bit, we're putting a different movie in.
Yep.
A movie that we just feel is appropriate to be talking about in our top 50s.
But they did not make the cut.
Yes. And I was wanting to do a bit of a theme with my cut ones, because we're talking about Safety Last. This is a silent movie. I have two other silent movies in my top 50. We talked about one of them already, Man with a Movie Camera. This was a part of the Russian Expressionist movement. The other movie I have is Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. Mm-hmm. This is part of the German experiment movement.
Germans. As
I'm missing one other big player in the silent movie era, which was the American vaudeville. The American vaudeville movies. Mm-hmm. None of them really made it onto my top 50, so I was like, you know what? I'm going to pick my favorite for this one, which I chose Safety Last by Harold Lloyd.
Yep. Alright, so I only know very few things about this movie when I first went in. There's only one, which is, you probably might know what it is. It's the famous scene towards the end of the movie.
Him hanging off a clock.
Yep. Other than that, I don't know very much about this.
It's one of the most famous shots in cinematic history.
Yep. I do know of Harry Lloyd, though. Mm-hmm. He and the other two very, very well-known silent movie actors of this time period. You had Buster Keaton and Charlie Chaplin.
Yep.
The big three.
Yep. So there was a handful of different ones. Each one went their different ways. The one you probably know the most about is Charlie Chaplin. He's probably the most famous. Then there's Buster Keaton. Then there's Harold Lloyd. And then from there, you're getting into, Fatty Arbuckle. You're getting a little bit further down the line. Mm-hmm. Where Harold Lloyd is in the weird in-between, where he's one of the most famous. For his time period, he was probably one of the most famous silent movie stars. But nowadays, he does not have the stardom that Buster Keaton or Charlie Chaplin do. Despite him being very good. Because, notably, Harold Lloyd was one of the very few, if I recall correctly, that was still making movies in the American Northeast. When just about everyone had moved down south into the down into the Hollywood blocks.
Yep, moved down to SoCal.
Yep. So, I guess that's a thing of note, but it does not play a major role in this movie.
No.
But, notably, one thing I will give you pre-warning on, if you have not watched the movie already, obviously we're not talking about spoilers, but there's a thing I'll actually give an advice if you want to watch this movie. On a pre-recommendation thing. Because this falls within American vaudeville. This is very different than every other movie type, because American vaudeville was a very different theater at the time. American vaudeville, this was a theater existence. There was a lot of movies that came out that were American vaudeville, but there was a thing before then. Because what vaudeville was you went up onto a stage and you gave a show live. And you often had these massive gimmicks or weird things. Because there was this thing in the U.S. called a peanut gallery. You've probably heard the term peanut gallery before. Mm-hmm. It's someone that heckles you or yells at you. What it was is that the poor seats were at the very front, while the balconies were the expensive seats. But what was happening was a lot of very poor people were coming up and sitting at the front and throwing stuff or yelling or doing things at the very front row. They were heckling, they were yelling and disrupting the show, and that created a thing called vaudeville. A low entry, like a penny a show kind of thing. You went in and you got crammed up in the front next to everyone, and they would all get drunk and loud and heckle the show and just yell at and do stuff. And a lot of vaudeville was playing into that and being able to play off how the audience feels.
There's only one type of movie right now that kind of has that same mentality.
Oh, yeah?
Go into a room movie showing. That's basically what this is.
Things like The Room, where it's like the intentionally, like not intentionally, but like the famously bad movies, and but like other ones like Rocky Horror Picture Show can also have that. So, but that's how vaudeville was. It was naturally very disruptive. But there were a lot of vaudeville stars that were like, I want to bring vaudeville as a replaceable thing because it's supposed to be very cheap. I want to put on a thing that's put on a screen that people can naturally yell at and heckle and throw stuff around and be rowdy, but they're not going to disrupt the show. So a lot of silent movies during the American era, like a lot of the comedy movies, were made with vaudeville in mind. They were people coming directly from vaudeville, so they naturally designed their movies for people to be in groups yelling and laughing. So if you're going to go and watching an American vaudeville show, first thing I would recommend, find some friends and throw this on. Yep. Because this is how it's designed to be watched. It's not designed to be sat down in a room all by yourself, completely dead quiet, just you watching this movie. This American vaudeville movies were never made for that. Mm-hmm. That's like the worst case scenario for them, is someone alone in a theater by themselves.
Meanwhile, we watched this movie by ourselves for this review.
Yep. So, heads up, I recommend watching this movie with friends.
Yep.
I recommend watching a lot of different American silent films with friends. They're completely free, and they're designed to be watched in groups. And on top of that, you're not going to talk over the dialogue. Mm-hmm. So you can be as loud and as rowdy as you want.
Yep. Well, I guess with all that context out of the way, we shall talk about our 4 quadrant of criteria.
Yep.
Starting off with the writing.
Yes. So, this is because it's vaudeville, this is falling within the slapstick category. So a lot of very ridiculous stuff happens on screen. And there is a lot of gags that happen in this movie. It's a very gag-dense film. Which is... The story is generally following a guy, he's moving out of the countryside, he's supposed to marry this girl, but he's like, I'm going to get a good job and some money before I do. Goes into town, goes into the big city, and gets a retail job. And this movie, the first half of it is following the horrors of working retail.
The constant barrage of people asking for stuff off the shelf and stuff. Having to literally... It's not a coat hanger that he draw it out to use as a sword. What was it that he used? It was... He brought out a rod or something like that to use as a sword to fight off the customers.
So, like, he's dealing with customers, argumentative ones, he's dealing with lousy managers, harsh time constraints, and, like, things that are, like, keeping him not being able to do the things he wants, and all for god-awful pay.
Yep.
Like, that aspect of the movie has aged amazingly.
I will say, though, he doesn't do himself any favors because he keeps on spending money on gifts for his girl back home.
Yep.
So it's like, yeah, that sounds about right.
So...
You could say he's an early version of the simp.
But I think this aspect of the movie has aged amazingly, because I think this plot point actually can be transferred into modern day very easily. Because it's about a dude going into the city, be like, I'm gonna make it big, and then him getting a lousy, dead-end retail job, and being miserable, and broke, and unable to pay his rent. This is like him and his best friend trying to find ways to dodge the landlord, and things like that. God. So, like, the movie is filled with really good gags. The second half of the movie moves into the girl comes into town and is trying to be like, I want to be with you, we should get married sooner rather than later, and him trying to find ways to get money as soon as possible while not dropping the facade that he is making it big while still working that dead retail job. But yes, that's like the basic synopsis if you want to go over any particular standout moments in the movie.
Well, I mean, most of the standouts are literally physical comedy, which
Yes.
would go into acting and production, I guess.
Mm-hmm. However, there's a couple things I do want to highlight.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, I love the opening to this movie.
Oh, yeah.
The opening's really good. It is Harold Lloyd's character sat behind a set of bars, and there's a noose hanging in the background, and a police officer standing by his side, and a girl and her mother standing on the other side of the bars, weeping their eyes out, being like, "Oh my God, it's all over! I can't believe it!" And Harold Lloyd character looking so depressed and defeated, just like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry, like I just can't believe." And then all of a sudden, the girls walk away and then walk over to the other side of the bars. You're like, wait, what? And the police officer pulls out a whistle. It's like, train coming. And then it's revealed the news hanging in the background is actually one of the train hoops that they use to grab messages. And it's just like, oh, he's not dying. He's just trying to catch the train.
It's fantastic.
Like, there's a lot of gags like that are really good. Obviously, lots of plenty good physical comedy, which I think that we should be moving into acting now.
Yep.
Notably, one thing I want to stand out for acting, because this is a very notable thing, this is some of the first movies to ever feature paid black actors that are not there to be black.
Yeah. Let's see, the one that I can think of immediately is the mother in the very beginning of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Right when he's leaving to get on the train, he accidentally takes a briefcase that he thought was his, but it's actually her child.
Like, it's the stroller thing,
Yeah.
like the carry stroller that has the kid in it, like the baby in it.
Yep. So the mother literally charges after him just to get her child back, and then he's already missed the train, so he has to literally.
Well, he did miss the train, like...
He has to
yeah,
chase.
so what he did is he, like, got the briefcase mixed up, and he leans forward to grab the train, but a car passed by, so he grabbed the rail of the car, and he's going the opposite direction. It's like, wait, what? And he has to hop off the car, and is, like, booking it to catch the train. Like, lots of really good physical comedy like that. The other notable thing for a paid black actor is when he's late to work, in a way he sneaks back into work.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a notable scene in the movie where he, like, gets to work early, and then, like, he's trying to write a letter to his girlfriend, and it's like he can't find anywhere good to write it, so he finds, like, this truck that's, like, there to do laundry. And he, like, sits himself on the truck to, like, write the letter so he can, like, write it on his knee. And then, an old deaf man is driving the car, pulls a lever, closes the truck, and he's trapped inside of it. He's yelling, he's begging the door, but the man's deaf, so he can't hear a thing.
Yep.
And, he's being taken around town. He's trying to find different ways to get back. One of my favorite moments is he finds an ambulance with a man who's desperately trying to not get put on the ambulance because he doesn't want to pay for an ambulance. Which I'm like, oh my God, this movie ages so well.
It aged so well.
There's a movie, like, and then he's just like, you know what, I'm going to use that. I'm going to trick the ambulance to bring me back. And he gets there and he's like, it's just a little too late. And the manager's scolding everyone who's coming in late. And there's this African-American man lifting mannequins and bringing them into the store, and he's like, I'm going to pretend to be a mannequin. And he, like, stands there pretending to be him, and he picks them up, brings them into the store, he, like, secretly resets the time and clocks in before the guy lifting him figures out, he's just like, what the heck just happened? He's, like, losing it. Those are, like, the two first ever African-American actors / actress to be put in a movie and be paid. Which is like a crazy milestone.
Hooray, guys, we did it!
Arguably the first ever one is what some argue to be the first ever movie.
Oh dear Lord, what is it?
It's that experimental thing where they took a wheel and took different pictures on it, so that when you turned it, it had the animation of a horse running.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was an African-American jockey that was riding the horse, so...
Oh, did I know that?
Yeah. At least if I remember correctly, he was non-white. I believe he was African-American.
Okay.
But, very fascinating thing. But regardless, acting in this movie is very good. It's Harold Lloyd. At the time period, he was the biggest silent movie star. And you can absolutely see why.
Yep. I love how you mentioned about the mannequin one. One of my favorite jokes in the movie one of my favorite jokes in the movie is between Harold Lloyd and his roommate in the beginning of the movie, where they're trying to avoid, I think it was the landlord.
Yep.
And in order to avoid her, they run to the coat rack, and then they just
They grab the 2 biggest coats they can, throw them on, grab the hook of the coat, throw it over the coat hanger hook, and then just pull their legs up and hang on the wall.
Yep. And I do love how the ending scene happens where Harold Lloyd, in the beginning of the scene, he was just sitting like...
Yeah, he had a chair that he's writing a letter in.
Writing a letter, and then...
His roommate, after that happens, sits down in that chair, and so what he does is he looks over, and then knocks on it, and the roommate stands up, runs back to the coat, grabs it up, puts it up, and Harold Lloyd just walks over his chair and sits back down because he's writing his letter.
Yep, that's one of my favorite jokes in the movie right there.
It's such a clean one. Oh, man. But
I do love the chaos of Harold Lloyd trying to work in the retail job.
Yes.
I mentioned it earlier, how he literally just grabs a random object and is just
Yep.
sword fighting them, like getting back, and like telling the customers to get back.
Another really good one is close to the end of that scene, where his manager walks over and he's like in a complete disarray from managing all of the customers. He's like, "Look at your outfit, son! It's a complete like go to the general manager!" And he sends another employee over to manage him, and the other employee walks over and is like, "Are you alright?" And Harold just puts a hand on his shoulder and goes like, "Good luck." They walk away, and he just looks back and goes like, "What?" And then he gets grabbed by the customer. He's like, "No! Help me! Help me!"
You know, this movie definitely portrayed what Black Friday must have been like. When Black Friday was literally at its heyday, it would have... You know what? If they would have remade this movie, it would have taken place at Black Friday. And you know what? It would have made a lot of sense.
Oh, man. But yeah, this is an amazingly well-aged movie.
Yep.
Amazingly well-aged, which is really hard to say for a movie released in 29, I believe it was?
1923.
23 even. 1923.
It is 103 years old and
Yes.
does not look a day younger.
It is very well-aged for that old of a movie.
It's very crusty, but it looks very good. It's like
production-wise, there's some problems, but...
It is a very good, crusty peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Which I think we can move into production now.
Yes.
Which, yeah, this is an older silent movie. Talkies were not going to come around for another few years.
Who cares about talkies? I'm tired of hearing your voice.
Fair enough. Yeah, I get tired of hearing yours too.
I know. Why are you listening to this podcast anyway?
God, I can't believe it. But either way, it is a silent film, so obviously there is that minor barrier. However, once again, this movie was made with the intention of being watched with other people. So I already recommend, to settle that, get some friends to watch it.
Yeah.
If you don't have any friends, I'm so sorry, man. Come on. Dang. He's just like him.
It's hard.
It's very hard.
It's very
hard.
It's very, very, very hard.
It's so dang. Anyways, get some friends. If you don't have any friends, I don't know what to tell you. I'm so sorry.
There's a very easy way to do this. Kidnapping.
Oh, dang. Okay, that works.
Yep. And you hold them up for ransom, and one of the parts of the ransom is you have to watch this movie.
We have a list of movies that you have to watch, starting with Safety Last, and then we're going to go on to Gold Rush. And then we're going to go Busher Boy. Oh, City Lights. The General.
Yep. There we go. And then Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, and then we continue on.
I was going to do the American Vaudeville one, so fair enough.
You know what? Hey, start with American Vaudeville and then try to
and
get
then
more...
you can go like Battleship Potemkin.
There you go. Anyway, yeah, it's an older movie, so it definitely shows what time period it is in. This is Roaring Twenties, literally at nearly the height of the Roaring Twenties.
Yes, the Black Wednesday, I believe it was, or Black Tuesday, something like that, wouldn't come for another few years.
6 years.
Yeah, so it'd still be a while before then, which...
this is one part that doesn't make the movie age very well. If this takes place in the 1920s, how is Harold Lloyd's character not making any money?
There were poor people at all times.
No, there wasn't. No.
The other notable thing is that there is a drunk in the movie. Mm-hmm. So, but it's not played as in like, oh, you're doing a legal thing. It's just there's a drunk.
Well, no, it wasn't illegal to drink during Prohibition.
Yeah,
it was just
illegal to buy.
Illegal to buy, make, and sell.
Yeah. So like that doesn't age anything. I just thought I should mention it because that's a notable thing people think about when the Roaring Twenties. So.
Yeah.
But regardless,
should we mention? I guess this would be a part of the writing too. The famous iconic scene at the end of the movie of him hanging off the clock.
I'm going to talk about that with production because one of the most notable scenes in the movie, the second half of the movie, is he manages to, like, get his way into, like, getting money by doing a stunt of climbing a tower.
Yep.
Which at the time, this is, like, one of the worst aged aspects. At the time was, like, a major thing to watch.
Yep.
Nowadays, it would probably make the news and get, like, 1,000 views on YouTube.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, pretty much. I mean, this was during the time, I believe, of the flying Walendas, and people were really into that kind of stuff.
Like, yeah, Harry Houdini was making his living during this time.
Yep.
Which, famous stuntman.
Yep.
So, like, people loved going to, like, buildings to watch someone potentially die.
Man, people really messed up back then. Huh?
Yeah, people were messed up all times.
What are you talking about? They were civilized back then. Good Christian values people. Anyhow, yeah.
Either way.
In order to raise money for the store, he said, I'm going to have my friend climb up this tower.
Yep.
But my friend was recognized by the police from an earlier incident.
Yeah, a plot point earlier in the movie.
So, yeah, Harold Lloyd was the one that has to climb up the tower.
Yep. He accidentally frames himself being like, I'm going to climb the tower, thinking he can, like, swap out with his friend, but his friend can't do it. He just has to climb the tower by himself.
Yeah, it's like, I keep going up higher, buddy, until I lose this cop. That's, like, the most repeated line in the movie, it feels like.
And then, like, do a gag with it at the very end of the movie, where he gets to the very top of the friends running down, like, the tops of some buildings, like, I'll be there soon! I'll ditch the cop! He's like, I'm already done!
Yep. But midway through of him climbing, he gets to a clock, and literally the face of the clock pretty much peels off, and he's just hanging off of there. I'm trying to remember. I have seen the behind, like, it's not the behind the scenes of this. There's no behind the scenes of this movie.
Yeah, no.
But it does show, like, an infographic of, like, how they did it.
Yeah, so what they did is they just went to the rooftop of another building, and they just made a facade, like, about 10 feet up or so you could get a view of the street past it. And they just filmed everything on this. And then anytime they wanted to film a different part, they just went to a different rooftop a little bit higher up, and they just did that.
Yep. And, literally where the clock was, his feet were, like, not even, like, I don't know, 5 feet off of the ground.
Yeah, no,
like
it's
very...
very...
it was, like, very simple of, like, just have him hang off there, and then we can just get our shot right there.
Which is crazy, because that has to be such a cheap shot, and nowadays we would do that with CGI, which is probably, like
CGI,
50 times more expensive.
CGI, green screen, and so on, but...
Like, it has to be so much more expensive to do that shot on green screen than it does in real life. Like...
Well, you know what they say. Don't make them like they used to.
Yeah. But yeah, like, it is a very well-produced movie. Once again, the slapstick's all very safe, relatively, for the time period. Mm-hmm. Harold Lloyd, comparative to some of the other ones, was a much more safe one. Because, like, comparative to someone like Buster Keaton, who was like, no, just run me over.
Just let the train hit me.
Like, Buster Keaton, if you want to watch a man who is very open to dying on screen, it's Buster Keaton.
Yeah.
Compared to Harold Lloyd, who was way safer about it. Mm-hmm. Harold Lloyd was significantly safer about it than Buster Keaton. Because I think Buster Keaton was, like... Harold Lloyd got to start in vaudeville. Like, he was on stage, and he would do these stunts, and he had no ways to do that safely. Compared to Buster Keaton, who got his living through a circus. So he just had to do those stunts for real.
Hey, he got himself a nerves of steel.
Yeah, no, like, there's a reason why Buster Keaton's remembered for his deadpan look.
Yep.
Because, yeah, he could manage that through any situation.
Oh, man. You think Buster Keaton might have reincarnated as Tom Cruise?
Considering how old Tom Cruise is, I think he was born before Buster Keaton.
Might have to look that up later.
It's not. There's no way.
I don't know.
But Tom Cruise absolutely lived during, like, while Buster Keaton was still on television.
Oh. I did not know that.
Yeah, because Buster Keaton still had airings, like, all the way into, like, the 50s. Because, like, he would, like, do stuff with Lucille Ball and things like that, so... And Tom Cruise is absolutely alive in the 50s.
Yeah, I thought it was a baby boomer or something, but...
Yeah. Because I think he's, like, 90 now or something ridiculous, so...
Wait, what?
Tom Cruise? He's very old. Surprisingly old.
Not that old, I don't think.
Tom Cruise is very old. I don't know if he's 90, but it's like, he's getting there.
He's not 90, no. I thought he was, like...
I didn't say he was 90, but he's getting to 90. Because he's probably, like, in his 80s or something, I think.
Don't worry about it.
I can check later. It's just not important.
Yep. Anything else for production?
No.
Design.
Yeah, so there is some very ridiculous stuff that happens in the movie. but it's set during its own time period, so there's nothing ridiculous with costuming or anything like that.
No.
The most you'll be seeing is set gags.
Yep.
Which there's plenty of set gags.
A lot of good ones.
So, like, they do a good job with that. However, I would not say design is a standout for this movie.
Yeah.
I think production is much more of a standout.
Mm-hmm.
Hence why these are two separate categories.
Yep.
There are some movies that design's kind of but the production's amazing, while some other movies, the production's and the design's amazing. So you kind of have to separate those out, even though for some people I think it's a bit difficult.
They are very much close to each other.
Yeah.
So
I think all four categories can be very close to each other.
Yep.
So.
Anything else?
No. Would you recommend this movie?
Oh, yeah. Definitely. It's just always that barrier of, like, okay, it's a silent era movie, it's in black and white, you gotta read text cards and stuff, but it's like, guys, come on. Yeah, Harold Lloyd was part of that camp to reduce the number of cards on screen, so there's not that much reading. Imagine watching Lord of the Rings, but with title cards. Imagine watching Pulp Fiction with title cards. Good Lord. Honestly, that would just destroy the essence of the movie. Oh yeah, no, it would also like quadruple the length of it because there's not a scene where they're not talking. Yep. Oh yeah, but yeah, I would highly recommend this movie. It is definitely one of the best silent era movies. Yep. I think it's now officially in public domain. So yes, it's been in public domain for a while. Yeah. So you have no excuse now. Yeah, it's on YouTube for free. I think it even has the original soundtrack. I do not know. I can't remember which way I watched this. It might have been YouTube. Yeah. Like, it's on YouTube, so, like, why not? Yeah. But it's also probably on Wikipedia. So. Yeah, I think it is on Wikipedia, actually. I think Wikipedia is very good about including those movies, so. Yep. Alright. I rate this movie a 10. It's pretty much a very easy 10. Yep. Exact same for me. Alright. Yeah, we are jumping over ahead about 50 years. And they... about 56 years, I believe. Well, let's see. 1923, Marjoe came out in 1972. Yes, 56 years. Yep. 56. No. 79, right? 72. Oh, 72! My apologies. Yeah, 49 years. I was like, that's what I said. I was like, almost 50 years. Sorry, I thought you said 79. No. So, this is our first true documentary. Yep. Very much of the essence of documentary that you would very much recognize today. Yes. And this definitely falls within the 60s era. Yeah, this is like counterculture movement type of stuff. Which, if you don't know, a lot of documentaries during this time period, they loved peeking behind the veil on the documentary. So you see the cast a lot. They talk about the movie itself a lot. Because a lot of documentaries during the counterculture 60s to 70s era, we're definitely breaking down the formality of the documentary. We're going to talk about that more in a couple of episodes with Spinal Tap. Yep. Spinal Tap, we're going to talk about that some more. But this is falling definitely within the counterculture. We're showing the cast. The cast is just as much as part of the movie. Yep. So, before we talk about the quad things about it, I usually like to talk about at least some background information about this movie. Yep. And I'm very much aware of, you were not familiar with this documentary probably at all. Yeah, no, I was not. You told me about it years ago. Yes. Many moons ago. Yes. But I never watched it until a few days ago. Yeah. So, Marjoe. I used to listen to a wrestling podcast several years ago. And it was pretty much the person's name was Dutch Mantel. You might be familiar with I'm familiar with yes. So so there was an episode that he was talking about several wrestlers that somehow became preachers, like Ted DiBiase Sr. and all these other ones. A bunch of them just become preachers, and he always found that interesting. At least I guess it's a lot from NWA, because that feels like a very NWA thing to do. Yeah, a very NWA thing to do. But the main point is that his host was asking about it. I was like, why do they keep doing that? Like, it's so weird and interesting. Like, all these guys that were wrestlers and stuff that if you knew their private lives around, say, the 70s and stuff, they would definitely not fit that mold. Well, Dutch Mantel pretty much just said, watch Marjoe, and you might get an idea of maybe a little bit of why they might become preachers and stuff, especially after being wrestlers. Yep. So, Marjoe is a documentary about Marjoe Goatmer.
Mm-hmm.
He was well known as a Pentecostal preacher from the 1950s, a child preacher that
parents were very radical. Matter
Yeah.
of fact, to the point that his name is in reference to Mary Joseph Marjoe.
Yep, Mary and Joseph, the parents of Jesus Christ.
So radical parents.
Yep, hardcore radical parents. And Marjoe was very well known from the 1950s and 1960s revival tent movement. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that concept of a revival tent movement.
No, I am. He is significantly better educated on the history of Christianity in America than I am.
Yep. So I will tell you
that is a blind spot for me.
Yeah. So pretty much what a revival tent type of movement is usually a church, in order to bring new adherents to the church or something like that, or to reinvigorate somebody's whole Christianity or faith, hence the term revival.
Yep.
They will have like these big tents or just big events that'll draw the community in, and then they'll have a preacher that is a guest, like Marjoe, for example, who will come in and bring a sermon and stuff and just reinvigorate the spirit for some people. And well, yeah, that's what Marjoe pretty much said, that he very much made that his thing. Like, this is my gimmick, as it were. Well, Marjoe, I believe he would be in his early 20s, I believe, in the documentary here.
He looks about his early 20s.
Yeah. Pretty much he decided, like, hey, I'm going to be retiring this. And he wanted to pretty much expose, you could say, the revival or Pentecostal movements of Christianity. Like, really, religion in general, like how religious figures and leaders are able to sort of exploit the faith of people in order to make profit.
Yep.
So, yeah, this is essentially what Marjoe is all about, is like, hey, I'm going to peel the curtain and just show you, hey, I'm just doing a lot of this for show.
Yeah.
And even it just shows how the preachers are like, yeah, we very much well aware, like, we're making money, we're making bank off of this. So, okay, so for me, I feel like whenever we review a documentary...
This is one of the true documentaries, so our normal 4 segments are very hard for true documentaries.
So I feel like most of the thing about it is like just the subject matter and at least explaining it to an audience that is not going to be familiar with this movie.
If you don't mind, I'm going to be breaking this down into 2 slightly different categories. So, writing, I'm going to be substituting with content. Acting would be presentation. I'm writing this down. Taking notes.
Yep. Presentation.
Yep.
Okay.
Production, still production.
Yep.
And design, still I'm sticking with design.
Yeah.
So.
Alright, so, the content of this movie, I basically gave the gist of what this is all about. The expose of sorts of revival tent movements of Christianity, especially in North America.
Yeah.
There is one little tidbit about this movie that I love telling about to people. So this was like right around the time when what Great Awakening would this be? It's the latest Great Awakening. If you don't know what that is, it's pretty much when Christianity revives itself in the United States in the context of its time period. So this would be your Billy Grahams, for example, and this would lead on to like what the modern day evangelical Christian movement is today, like a massive voting bloc of, say, the Republican Party.
Yeah. Because about 10 years later...
Reagan would become president.
Exactly. And he would do that on the massive, massive back of Christianity.
Yep.
So there was a massive, during this time period, radicalist, declare of Christianity is alive and it will dominate every aspect.
In a lot of ways, yes, that's correct.
Which... we get to, the anti-Voltaire, uniting religion and government.
Yeah, trying to... really, the rise of the Satanic Panic would really come to fruition in this time period. However, Marjoe... I love telling about this movie to people because, at one point, this movie was very hard to come by. It was out of print for decades, until it was finally found one day, and they pretty much, yeah, okay, we're going to repurpose this again. Because the reason why it was kind of lost for a long time, I mean, it received accolades. It won Best Documentary in the Academy Awards. This movie was not released south of Iowa in theaters. And if you don't know anything about Iowa, you're close to Canada.
Yeah.
Why did this movie not get released?
Because I think the only state that's more north than it, that's in the contiguous U.S., is like Minnesota and Maine.
It's Minnesota and Maine. I believe it was like, yeah, we're not releasing this movie anywhere south of like Des Moines, Iowa, and stuff like that.
Yeah, like,
and the reason why is because they were scared of a backlash of the Bible Belt and American Christianity. They were very scared of that, so they're like, okay, we're going to release it only in this select region of the United States.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's why this movie was lost for quite a long time. And, yeah, they finally brought it out, and this movie is somewhat fairly well known today for people that are into documentaries, especially detailing, like, Christianity in the United States.
Yeah.
Now, the content of this movie.
Yeah. So, it is jumping between Marjoe, who is the main person who is basically doing the, like, 90% of the commentary on the movie. Like, it's almost exclusively himself. It is jumping between him talking about, like, the different things and aspects within certain parts, and I would say a very big part of the movie, which is the actual sermons. And basically an on-the-fly wall look at what's going on in each of the sermons.
Yep. There's also the behind-the-scenes area where Marjoe is telling the documentary crew, especially at the beginning of the
that's the very beginning,
He's, like, literally telling them, hey, you guys got to try your hardest to not make yourself noticeable, but also make yourself noticeable in the fact that people would come up to you and are, like, asking you questions of, like, what is your faith? Oh, are you saved? And all these little things here and there. Because, like, if you know anything about people, like, especially that are evangelical, say if you went to a party and say it was like a massive party, like say in colleges, for example, where Christianity is very big in, like your religious schools, for example, you'll have people come up to you and like sometimes they're like asking you, oh, are you a Christian and stuff like that? And if you say no, they'll be like really up in your face about it and like trying to get you saved and whatnot. But if you say you are one, they kind of teeter away from you. They kind of like leave you alone because it's like, oh, you're good, you're fine, we're not going to bother with you. Meanwhile, but Marjoe is like, some of the documentary crew are like even told like, hey, try not to hook up with any of these girls and stuff because they are not going to do that. Because it's like it's definitely showing you like, hey, this countercultural people that are in the documentary crew, you're in a way different zone than probably what you're accustomed to. So, yeah. What else is the content within this movie? Yeah.
So the only scene I would say outside of those is obviously the scene where he's talking with the actual production crew.
Yep.
And the only other one is where he's having dinner with another not it was an evil janulist. Why am I struggling with the word?
Well, there's evangelical and evangelist, but evangelical.
Oh my god, I can't say the word. Apparently,
evangelical. Which honestly, evangelist and evangelical, they're very much the same. But I know what you're trying to go for. So, evangelists is the ones that are usually like, you know, they're preaching out on the stage and whatnot, or on television, literally leading this revival. And evangelical is just kind of like a identity of certain Christians and like whatnot.
He's having dinner with one of those families.
Yeah, he's having family with those types of people. Yeah.
So like that's the set pieces that we're going between. And in terms of ratios, personally for me, I think too much of the percentage of the movie is focusing on the actual sermons. I think the movie should be cut down on the amount of that, because I think what's the most fascinating part in terms of the content in the movie is Marjoe talking about the red flags and things that look out for and what they're doing. Because I think one of the more interesting moments of the movie, like editorial-wise, is him going, look out for this woman, she's going to go, huh, huh, and then get into her speech, and anytime she's going to go, huh, 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 and like begin doing that right before she gets to her main point, and then immediately cuts to her doing that.
Yep.
Showing that, like, yeah, no, he's an expert in this.
Oh,
like, I think I was like, okay, that's a very good thing to do.
Yep.
So, this is where we're leading into presentation, if you're open for that.
Yes, I think so, but there's also, like, there's that one little scene that he's literally talking to the camera, and I mentioned it earlier about the whole gimmicks and stuff.
Yep.
Literally, right when I watched that wrestling podcast and then I went to watch this, it was like, oh, okay, I get it. Like, wrestlers have that certain gimmick that people will draw themselves towards, and literally it's the same thing with preachers and stuff in American Christianity.
Yep.
They have a gimmick about them that people really draw towards. It could be anything, really. It could be how they present their sermons. It could be literally about their life before becoming a preacher. Like, I was an alcoholic, I was a drug addict, or a sex addict, and so on. It's like those things that tie people into those revival tent movements, and it's like, I want to listen to his sermon and stuff because I can relate to that, or at least I'm drawn to that. So that's usually like the one thing about with Marjoe that I always tell people is like a big takeaway for me, at least, is like a lot of preachers have gimmicks a part of them that really, like, they can sell that to people, and that's how they can generate their money. So yeah, we can move on to presentation.
Yeah. So presentation-wise, the movie is focusing the documentary is focusing almost entirely around American Christian, like this sort of sector.
Yeah.
And it is focusing around him moving around the country.
Yeah.
And because of that, there are many different parts of this movie that are him preaching at different places. Like him preaching at this place, and there'll be like a small segment where he like talks about it, and then it's like another 10-minute segment of him talking another place.
Yep.
Which presentation-wise is not my favorite way of doing it.
Yeah. Really and truly, though, it just... I can't fault it for that, because that's literally what these, like, revival things are. It's like you're literally moving from place to place.
I would have preferred for them to cut down on it because of how often they do it.
Yeah.
Because one of the most powerful moments in the movie, hence why I was using this for a transitionary point, is when him predicting what's going to be happening, what they're going to do, what people are going to be getting out of it, and how people are going to react. It's like, okay, this is very strong because it's showing the predictable nature and how they're able to control the audience. But they do that like 1 or 2 times, and we never see it again, but we get so much footage of the actual sermons that I would say quite safely about 70% or more of it, this movie is the sermons. So much of this movie is the sermons, which I think is the least interesting part about it. The most interesting part of the movie for me is him revealing the certain things, the prediction being like, okay, here's how we do this, here's how, like, people are going to control that, showing someone and being like, okay, here's how he's doing this, and basically showing the red flags of what to watch out for. Because, like, as a documentary, that's the educational aspect. That's the part I'm like, okay, this is the interesting thing. But because so much of the movie is the sermons, as someone who, risking talking about this movie, I'm not Christian, the sermons don't really interest me, and so much of the sermons say the same things.
Yeah, weirdly enough, though, Bryce, because I grew up in that I didn't grow up in that environment of Christianity that Marjoe grew up in, kind of similar in some areas, but I see that now, like, a large amount of like what Marjoe says, and whenever I see the preaching and stuff, it's like, okay, it just recontextualized everything that I've been brought up in, and it's like, yeah, I recognize the tactics that they use in order to draw money from people.
Yeah.
Like those little things of like him saying like, oh, just mention about like, say, the $20 in the random cookie jar that this person is saving.
Which I was like, okay, that's a good mention.
Yeah. So it's just like, those sermons are like, it's just like literally is like, yeah, they're drawn out and stuff, and there is a lot of them, but it's like, yeah, it's like the heart of it is like, yeah, we're trying to bring out money in these people and stuff, and we're just exploiting their religion for financial profit. I mean, heck, that is still done to this very day. I mean, this is what I mainly harp on with like massive like mega churches, for example.
Yep.
If you've ever seen them, I'm sure Bryce has seen them. Like you have these huge buildings and stuff, and they're like the size of community colleges, or like you even have like preachers that buy full on like concert arenas, and they can generate so much money and stuff because like they know their way around and how to exploit people's faith and whatnot to make that money. And heck, churches are not taxed, so this is a easy money making business right here.
Which, the content, I'm like, this is great. Content-wise, this is an important thing we talk about. I don't like how it's presented.
Yeah.
Presentation's where it falls very flat for me.
Yeah, I always wondered, though, like, the production crew that did all this, I wonder how much experience they have with making documentaries, because this is definitely a massive expose, and they're really in your face of, like, see, look, we're giving you the content right here, but we want you to watch it yourself. Yeah. To, like, peer it to yourself, and, like, you can recognize it yourself. In which... I get the motivation behind it, but good Lord, you're putting a lot of ask for your audience to like recognize the cues and whatnot that these preachers are doing.
so many of the scenes are just several long segments of someone screaming, "Jesus Christ, hallelujah."
Yep.
They just say that over and over, and it's like, by the 600th time I hear that, I'm like, did we really need to include the 601st time they said it?
Yeah, I hate to break it to you, Bryce, but yeah, a large amount of Christian sermons are basically like
yeah,
that.
No,
it's that's the thing. Is like, yeah, I get your criticism entirely, but it's like I can't help but to think in my back of my mind. It's like, I hate to break it to you, but literally a large amount of sermons are just like that.
Yeah,
it just circles back to Jesus Christ, hallelujah. It's basically what it is.
I get that they say that a lot. I just didn't need it so much, because I just got tired of hearing about it.
Yep.
It's just like, oh my god, okay, I get it. They say that, because you could have done exactly what they did here if they just did it, every sermon, they just showed it, 4 or 5 times.
Oh, yeah.
But, the sermon segments, they could have cut, I would say, easily about 40 to, 80% of what they show.
But here's the fun part, though, Bryce. How long is this documentary, though?
It's a little over an hour.
Yeah, it's not very long. So, a large portion of it is the sermons. But honestly, for me, just everything moves at a pretty brisk pace for me. I never felt like this movie is, the documentary is very slow. But yeah.
I disagree, personally.
Oh, you disagree?
This movie was a crawl.
Really?
The segments where it was Marjoe just on screen talking about the things, I was like, okay, this is the really good. Then it went to the actual preaching, and it was like, okay, we're here for another 10 minutes, and we're not cutting away. We're gonna hear him yell hallelujah. We're gonna hear him walk down the aisle. We're gonna see some women faint. And it's all the exact same, and we're just gonna keep airing this 70 times.
Yeah.
We could have had so much less of that. I got the point already. Stop telling me. Show me the red flags. This is the interesting part. Don't show me this.
Yeah. I will admit, the amount of preaching stuff, it does get super repetitive. But it's just, to me, it's this is essentially what it is. These revival tent stuff, it's this is what it is every freaking time.
Yeah.
It's always the Jesus, hallelujah, and the special preacher that came in today. It's essentially what it is.
Yeah. So, I understand that's what it is. Personally, I'm okay, there is a way better way to communicate that's just how it is, without just showing us in its entirety.
Honestly, though, this movie, this is very much set in the late 60s and 1970s, before evangelical Christianity took hold of American, at least political life and so on. I would love to see this be redone, to redo it, and what is it now? What is American Christianity today? Because you can really sink your teeth into, especially with the advent of the internet, how many YouTube channels or podcasts and stuff generate money off of people's Christianity and stuff, and even insecurities with not just their faith, their mental health, and even the conspiracy theory stuff.
Yeah,
that is something that could be really talked about. Well, unfortunately, though, I don't think American Christians would ever watch that.
Yeah,
they'd probably think this is fake news.
So
yeah. All right, production. Unless we basically talked about it, kind of, I guess.
So production-wise, this is a very low-budget documentary film. So this isn't done on the best cameras. This isn't done with great sets. The framing isn't amazing, but it's not so terrible. I've seen documentaries with worse all of that.
Yeah.
But this is part of, as we said, the 1960s counterculture movement. So they are being a bit kind of lax and free with it. So it does feel a lot like home video with how they decide to film that. So it's not a huge issue. If you're someone who's do not go into this movie expecting great cinematography in a documentary. Because there are some documentaries with great cinematography. This is not one of those.
Yeah, this is a very cheaply made movie.
So it's not so bad that I can't tell what's happening.
Yeah.
Generally from cut to cut, I understand okay, this is what they're trying to show. This is what's going on.
Yeah.
And the audio quality is mixed fine.
Yeah, especially since you're literally using a very put together same day put together microphone set and surround system and stuff, especially during the 1970s inside this massive tent.
Yeah.
Yeah, good luck getting good sound quality.
Yeah. They even talk about that in the movie. which is like one of the in-between segments is like, oh, by the way, like there's going to be echo here, but there's not going to be as much echo as you think because it's going to be a full room. So it's going to be a lot less echoey, and they're like talking about that kind of thing. So like they leave in those production things. Hence why I was talking about that. Like the production people are just as much as the character because Marjoe is providing information. I'll be like, here's how you're going to film this.
All right. So design.
Design-wise, this is a very low design film.
Yeah.
The only real aspect I have of the design is very early on, like I think opening-wise in the movie, it shows the old footage of when he was a kid. And showing the different aspects and cutting between that up until modern day. Other than that, design-wise, they did little to nothing for design. And if there was anything for design, it's completely background. Like, they mention a character going in disguise in a wig so he could, like, pass as Christian because of his long hair.
Yep. It was either that or cut off his hair.
Yeah.
Lord.
Design-wise, I have nothing of major note. The only thing of major note that I have, which is an odd inclusion that they put in the movie, which I can understand why, because this is part of the counterculture movement, but I can see that this is probably going to get some flames, like, extra flames, because they leave in some references to Marjoe having sex with airline stewardesses and doing acid.
Yep.
And it's just like, interesting inclusion, because you're already not ingratiating him, so you're basically vilifying him in this movie.
Yeah. Well, weirdly enough, though, you'd be surprised on how many preachers have had mistresses whenever they've been going on tour. That is a very common thing.
Yeah.
I think there was, like, one preacher who was very, like, a lot of his sermons were based around homophobia.
Yep.
And
they reference even in this movie that there's a sermon about homophobia.
Yeah, and then he got caught with a male. Yeah, and he went on television and was, like, begging for forgiveness and crying and whatnot. It was, like, a very well-known thing. I think that was from the 90s, I think, when that happened. So, big scandal right there. Now, with all that said, would you recommend this documentary to people?
There's not a lot I could recommend. It's a very interesting topic to discuss. I do like the content a lot.
So for me, this is on a list of like documentaries centered around Christianity for people that are, say, either deconstructing or having a crisis of faith. And I just tell them, listen, I'm not going to tell you what to believe because that's not my mojo.
Yeah.
But I usually list Marjoe in as well with a bunch of other documentaries. I think the other one that I almost put on here was Children of God. But the content, it's rough. It is not an easy thing to watch through. It is not. That's why I decided, no, I'm not doing this, because it deals with stuff about children that... you probably might... You can pretty much...
When you hear church and children, you automatically should be hoisting up a red flag.
Yep. So, yeah, that's why I said, like, I'm not going to put it on here, because I'm not really in the mood to talk about that. But, yeah, Marjoe is in that camp. It's not in that bad camp of that. It's just, like, money laundering and exploitation and stuff. Meanwhile, Child of God is a different beast entirely. So, yeah, I usually do recommend this to people, because, like, they get mad about, like, say, their church about raising money and stuff, and it's like, if you really want to learn more, use Marjoe as a very fun example of, like, learning about... recognizing if, like, they're being genuine and whatnot.
Yeah.
Which most of the time, they're really not. I hate to break it to people, but most of the time, this is just a job for some people to make easy money.
Yeah.
But
As he states, it's a business.
Yeah.
He states that a few times in the movie.
Yes, it's a business. It's a very fun business. But, yeah, it is definitely something that I would say, it's not an easy recommendation on the face of it. However, if you're somebody that's interested in American Christianity and you want to learn more on it, like more of its inner workings, Marjoe is a pretty, I wouldn't say a fun place to start, but it's just a start.
So, finally, last thing I want to talk about before we get to, like, any further, because we're talking about this part.
Yes.
There was something I tried to do in preparation for this movie.
Oh boy.
I have a friend of mine who works as a priest assistant. And I tried scheduling with him because I hadn't watched the movie yet. But I was like, you told me the content, and I was like, I want to actually sit down with you, and I want your opinion on this so I can bring this forward to me on this podcast. Sadly, I was never able to actually schedule them.
Sucks.
Hence why I've not brought it up till now.
Okay.
So, very unfortunately, I was unable to schedule them. They're just too busy, and we had to film this podcast. Fun fact, that's actually, in case you don't know, I actually delayed this one because I was hoping to get them and it didn't work.
Yeah, that's why I said there was no new episode like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
It's because like scheduling issue, but yeah. Maybe one day we'll have a fun episode where I will literally give you the list of documentaries detailing American Christianity. Yes, there will be some that are rough to get through, but we'll try to find a way to make it quote-unquote YouTube friendly when discussing it, but hopefully that'll be a good time for you to we're not going to have them sit down here and interrogate him. No, just at least give you a chance to talk about this content a little bit with him.
Yep.
Alright, so how would you rate this out of 10?
A lot of this movie was a slog to get through, but in the end of the day, the content is very interesting.
Yes.
So that does a long way for a documentary, but if you're not doing this in an interesting way, that does hurt it. So in the end of the day, it's hard for me to give it more than a 6 out of 10.
For me, it was an 8.
That's fair.
I personally found it, like, the content is, like, what really shines through, and it's, like, especially in an academic setting where you're trying to peel back more Christianity beyond just the religious aspects of it, learn more about, like, the inner workings of it and, like, all of its cogs in the machine. This is a fantastic piece to work with.
Yeah.
And I was very happy to know that it was lost for a bit, but then it was then found. Then it was like, yes, I can finally actually watch this and stuff.
Yeah, the content's amazing. If this documentary was remade with better presentation, this could be an easy 10.
Yep. Marjoe is still alive to this day, though.
I mean, it makes sense. He was only like 20 in the 70s. So.
Yep. I think he did actually eventually get like television roles and movie roles, in which, funnily enough, plays a preacher.
Yeah, of course he does.
Yep.
And that's the thing that he relents on in the end of the movie. Is like, hopefully I'll be able to become an actor and all that. It has this like, I wonder if that succeeds. Yeah. Because that's the exact same thing a lot of wrestlers will do, for example. Or it's just like, I'm believing to become an actor, and then Hulk Hogan, he becomes a babysitter. It's like...
Anyhow, but yeah, he does pretty well for himself now. I think he just lives within a low life right now. He's just an old man.
Yeah, makes sense.
All right, so thank y'all for watching. For next episode, man, we are really kicking it up to high gear with these opposite movies here on the spectrum. We have Scott Pilgrim versus the World in 2010, our only Edgar Wright movie. Very sad. And our first Akira Kurosawa movie with Hidden Fortress.
Yes.
1958.
I'm sure way down the line, once we're done with the top 50, we're going to talk more about Edgar Wright.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure we'll talk about Hot Fuzz and Dawn of the Dead. Not Dawn of the Dead, it was Shaun of the Dead. Shaun of the Dead, that's what it was.
I almost put Shaun of the Dead on there first.
Shaun of the Dead almost made my list too. Shaun of the Dead's really good.
Yep. But anyway, I don't really have an ending for this way to end this, actually. Praise Jesus, hallelujah.